Yo, what up, a-holes? Thank you for tuning into the Holistic A-Hole podcast. My name is Eric Levi, and I'm the Holistic A-Hole. Thank you for tuning in here to episode number 54, where we're going to talk about interviews and scandal and big pharma. That's right. Today, I'm talking about the Stormy Daniels interview on 60 Minutes, while also talking about who the interview was paid for by in the first place. But before we get into all that, I want to say thank you for tuning in. If you're a new listener, that's awesome. I don't know how you found the podcast, but you did. You're here. Kick off your shoes, stay a little while. Take a quick second and hit the subscribe button right there in your phone, because I'm just throwing this out there. There's a good chance you're probably listening to this on a telephone of some sort. And if you are, just go into your podcast app, whether it's the Apple podcast player on the iPhone or Stitcher or Castbox or Podcast Addict or whatever Android phone people use to listen to podcasts. Hit the subscribe button in that app. That way, you'll see the podcast pop right there in your podcast feed every time it comes out. You don't have to go searching around all over the wild world of iTunes looking for the Holistic A-Hole podcast. I'm going to bring it right there to you. And then also, if you enjoy the podcast and the inspiration strikes you to give a little back, go on to iTunes and leave me a 5-star review. Leave the podcast a 5-star review. Say something nice. Be like, you love it, you hate it, whatever you feel at the moment. Leave it right there in iTunes, and it helps me grow the podcast and get it out there to more people, because that's all this is about. It's about you. It's about bringing this message to you. And the message I want to bring today is something that I caught, that I saw when I was watching the Stormy Daniels interview on 60 Minutes. Now, here's the thing. I'm not one to, set aside time to make sure I watch TV or movies. I'm actually very bad at that. I should actually be better about making a note to watch things and, keep up with what's happening. I just don't care. I can't remember the last time I watched 60 Minutes, let alone 60 Minutes on a Sunday. But that's what I did. I sat down like I was about to watch the Super Bowl again to see Anderson Cooper interview former porn star Stormy Daniels. Now, for those new to the Holistic A-Hole podcast, I'm sorry if you thought this was going to be some kind of neo-lib NPR health awareness podcast. That's not what I do here. I'm an outspoken enthusiast. I don't know if I want to say supporter, but definitely enthusiast of the president, Donald Trump. Whatever you think about him, I try to give him a fair shake. So sometimes I talk about Trump stuff on here or politics, because a lot of the food stuff too, a lot of the health stuff, most of the health stuff is tied into politics. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. So, over the last couple years, I've become a little bit more highly attuned to noticing, things that kind of involve my world, which is healthcare. So as I'm sitting down to watch this Stormy Daniels interview with Anderson Cooper, the beacon of journalistic integrity, just before I hit play on the player, and just before the interview comes on, just before that old tick, tick, tick of the 60 Minutes clock comes on, a quick commercial, not even a commercial, just a quick announcement. Just, hey, letting you know, This episode of 60 Minutes is brought to you by Pfizer. You know, the good people over at Pfizer. Pfizer, one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in the whole world, that Pfizer. And I can't imagine I'm the only one who caught this, but I don't know if as many people had an issue with it as I did. Because to me, seeing that Pfizer ad come on before the Stormy Daniels interview and knowing that Pfizer is the one paying for 60 Minutes to happen, or at least to happen online. I'd imagine they're a huge backer of most of the 60-minute operation. I think that really just breaks down all the politics you need to know about everything. Pfizer is the one paying for 60 Minutes. If not for Pfizer, I mean, there probably still would be a 60 Minutes, but you have to imagine the amount that Pfizer's paying CBS in 60 Minutes, if not in some, legal documentation, probably owns part of CBS. And CBS isn't as much a news station as they are content for the Pfizer Corporation. But you just see that if Pfizer is paying for this content to get out there, if Pfizer's paying for CBS and specifically 60 Minutes to portray stories, there's no way they're going to allow stories that work counter to Pfizer's interests. Now, this isn't conspiracy theory. Okay, we had a quick technical difficulty there, but we're back. What was I saying? Pfizer owning CBS. CBS is just content. That's all it is. That's my point. CBS is just content, and basically what Pfizer is doing is Pfizer's using content to spread propaganda. Entertainment. That's all it is. Propaganda is a big, ugly word for just entertainment. What can keep people's faces glued to the TV or to their mobile device or to their laptop, whatever it is? What can keep people's faces and eyeballs glued to our stuff and not other stuff? And oh yeah, once we get people looking at our stuff, let's make sure we send the message that they only think good about Pfizer or any Pfizer products. Pfizer usually doesn't come out and say, hey, like Pfizer. At this point, have I kept saying Pfizer wrong multiple times? I feel like I did, but we're not getting paid to edit, so you guys have to deal with it. Sorry about that. Pfizer is airing or is getting commercials aired that promote their drugs. So that's basically what the deal is. So everybody who tries to tell me, like, hey man, like, why are you so down about the mainstream media? I don't know. Why am I so down about the mainstream media? Maybe because the mainstream media's bills are being paid by the pharmaceutical industry. This is not speculation. This is just watch television. Watch any television on the major news networks. CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, all that shit. All of it, you're not going to see any less than 70% of the TV, of the commercials are for pharmaceuticals. Is that a surprise? Is that just coincidence? Do ad buyers just sell a bunch of ads to pharmaceutical companies and then at the end of the month go, whoa, what a coincidence? Can you believe that? Sorry, guys. I'm having some serious technical difficulties. I'm going to keep powering through this one, and we're going to figure this out. If you want to send me a couple grand so I can get a new laptop and podcast gear, Daddy would appreciate that. But when it comes to pharmaceuticals running the media, this is where it comes down to this thing where people are very skeptical of the mainstream news. So is it any surprise then that I'm about to watch a newscast all about a porn star who slept with the president, the current president, but not when he was president? This happened 6-7 years ago. This happened in the past sometime. But now I have to care about it. Why? Because the news is telling me it's important. And as just a consumer, as just a sheep, as some people would say, you're not going to think anything other than what the news is telling you. Because thinking as an American is not in our pedigree. Listening and reacting, that is what we do. But most people don't think. They want to be told what to think. This is where you get propaganda. This is where you get the power of advertising. Someone comes on TV and tells you, hey man, this toothpaste works better than this toothpaste. You know, you're not going to question. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that toothpaste works better. That's how they sell you shit. It's the same thing with the news. The news comes out and the news is like, here's the top 3 news stories. And guess what? 2 out of 3 of them are anti-Trump. And then the third one is the weather. But that's also going to get tied to Trump because he's a climate denier. So the weather for the next 3.5 years is going to be all Donald Trump's fault. I would actually say maybe the next 7, 3.5, 7, 6, 6.5, I think, at this point. The next 6.5 to 7 years, the weather is going to be all because of Trump. That's what the media is. That's what it's been for the last 15 months. It's insanity at this point. So every week, there's a new way that the president broke some law or did something people didn't like. And another way that he's a piece of shit, he's a criminal. I can't believe one story has not stuck for more than a week. It's unbelievable. People will get all hot about Russia for a whole week. And then the weekend comes, people go out, they go to movies, they go to plays. Not everyone goes to plays. In New York, people go to plays. Most places, people don't go to plays. They go out to the club, they go to the bar, they do whatever. They watch some bullshit on TV, they watch sports, they forget all about it. And then Monday, it's the news's job to dump something new out to you. And then you forget all about Russia for a little bit because Russia isn't even real. That's why they can keep doing that shit. If Russia was like 9/11, if it really was like Watergate, like they say it is, this would be on the news every single day. But no, what happens with Russia, it just takes breaks. For a long time, Russia was on the news for every day. And then they realized, they were like, this is all fake. None of this is real. And then every week, they'll roll something new out to you. This week, it's about Stormy Daniels. This Stormy Daniels thing's been, around since Trump was a candidate. And it kind of went away for a little bit. But now it's back. Because this is what it is, man. Trump is just dominating. He's dominating. Whether you like what he's doing or not, he's dominating everything. Yeah, not all of it's right. I don't know what's going on. I know I'm just not getting the right news story. That's the only thing I know for sure. So this week, it's about Stormy Daniels and her affair with Donald Trump. Which, by the way, she signed a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. She's not even allowed to be talking about this. She even acknowledged in the interview that this could cost her millions of dollars. It's crazy. For what? For what? So we know that Donald Trump cheated on his wife? Was anybody shocked by this? Was anybody shocked by this? I'm concerned about you if you were shocked about this. If you think the president stupen a porn star is important to know, oh, but it was when Melania had just had their baby, Barron. I think it was Barron. I don't care. He's Donald fucking Trump. I didn't watch The Apprentice ever, but I knew who he was. And I never thought, man, he must be real loyal to his wife, Melania. He must go home every day and she has dinner cooked for him and they sit at the table like a good American family and talk about their days. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. And it's the same thing with him as president. But the thing is, none of this happened when he was president. This happened years before he was president. They keep trying to do this too. Look what he did. He didn't do it while he was president. Bill Clinton got blown in the Oval Office. Put a cigar up a woman's pussy. Didn't get impeached. Trump had consensual sex with a porn star, somebody whose profession is to have sex. She won trying to be an intern, or she wasn't an intern, trying to further her career. She was kind of trying to further her career. But I mean, Clinton, that's like borderline rape. Trump let this girl, Stormy Daniels, smack him on the ass with his own magazine. And then he was like, we're having sex. And she was like, okay. And they had sex. All right. And the lawyer comes on and he's like, well, the NDA isn't valid. It was invalidated by Trump's lawyer, and Trump's lawyer paid Stormy. And they do this thing where they go around in this kind of, this kind of confusing little scenario of money being paid to her paying money to this guy paying money, and then they slide it in that, oh, well, this had something to do with a thing that was related to another thing that had relations to the election. What? So somehow Stormy Daniels paid money to the Trump team or something? I don't even know. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense, and it makes no bearing on what is happening in this country. It makes no bearing on the budget. Makes no bearing on the wars. It makes no bearing on the food policy. Makes no money on the drug policy. Makes no money on the infrastructure. Makes no money. It's just stupid. This makes no sense. No sense at all to have this as a controversy. And the best part about the interview was it was so funny. It was so funny. It was so much funnier than it was provocative or damning to Trump. Like, I was really hoping that there was something in there that was like, oh shit, that's not good for Trump. Because I'm a Trump supporter who is looking for the reason to not like Trump. There are little things that I disagree with him on, of course. You should. You should have conflict with your leaders. This was the problem with Obama. Nobody could be critical of Obama. If you were critical of Obama, you were called a racist. You were called stupid because Obama was always right. But I look at Trump, I support him because he's the president, and I want him to do right. But yeah, I don't agree with everything. But I also think he's not getting a fair shake. So I just look at this stuff and I'm like, dude, like, why are they going after him? Why are they going after him like this? Why are they always going after him? Why are they always going after Trump? Trump, I mean, when he first got in office, he declared war on the press because they'd been shitty to him for a long time. It's not like he didn't know the press. He was a darling of the press. He knows how to use the press. That's how we got elected in the first place. But They're going after him. And I've always wondered why. But watch the Stormy Daniels interview, and before the interview comes on, what do you get? Pfizer commercial. Throughout the interview, what do you get? Pharmaceutical commercials. What does that mean? It means the whole broadcast is brought to you by the good people of Big Pharma and all their life-saving pills and medication. So what's the big deal about that? Well, if you think about Trump, one of the things that Trump said when he was running for president. Now, I know he made a lot of promises when he was running for president. I get that. And it's kind of disappointing in some ways to look at some of his promises and to be like, well, you're not really doing that. Libertarians are pissed at him now because he approved this ridiculous budget that gives all this money to the military, gives all this money everywhere, man. Everyone's getting paid. Over $1 trillion, I think. It's insanity. Say what you want. His balls were held to the fire by Congress. They basically sabotaged them. So what they do, they roll out a 2,000-page budget, and you have to read it in 24 hours. Nobody knows what's in that budget. Nobody. But a lot of people are going to make a lot of money, and a lot of people are going to get away with a lot of real illegal shit, including these pharmaceutical companies. But one of the things Trump was saying while he was on the road campaigning was he said he's going to bring down drug prices. And I think he still says that. He's going to bring down drug prices. How is he going to do that? Very simple. He's going to end the shitty drug patent laws that we have in this country. I don't know exactly how he's going to do it. And if you change the patent laws, do patents still exist? I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But one of the things he wants to do is he wants to lower drug prices by dismantling a lot of those patent laws, the regulation around them. And then he wants to, which will allow for more generic drug companies to come in and sell their shit. And what's going to happen there, it's going to create competition. More competition in the market means the drug prices are going to lower, going to go down. And some generic drugs might come in and take over the market. But that's not happening for Pfizer right now because they own so many patents on so much medication that they're basically living off of a monopoly. That's what they're doing right now. They run the drug market. There's other drugs, GlaxoSmithKline, Bayer. There's other ones out there, but Pfizer has, they've got their patents, they've got their for sure drugs. Nobody in the pharmaceutical industry wants this, by the way. It's not just Pfizer, it's all of these companies. They can't afford to have generic drugs coming on the market because that's going to tank their prices. And if it tanks their prices, their stock is going to go down. And if their stock goes down, bro, not good. Not good. So you watch a lot of these, you watch television and you wonder why everything is so anti-Trump. Well, there you go. All the media companies are run by the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry putting out the news of what's important, what's not important, what you should know about drugs, how great they are. If you take Chantix to quit smoking, you're going to feel great. You're going to go to a wood-fired pizza place with some little old lady you met off Tinder. You're going to get a nice margarita wood-fired pizza. You're going to laugh and smile while somebody says all the horrific side effects that come along with the drug. You're going to get all that stuff. That's what you get with the pharmaceutical companies running the media. You also get all of the studies that come out that get played on TV constantly, like when they tell you things like, more salt in your diet is actually healthier for you. This is insanity. There's no science that supports that. At least no reputable, not industry biased science. When they tell you things like that, though, who's paying for those studies? Who do you think? The good people at Pfizer and Bayer, GlaxoSmithKline. And what do? They get those stories put right there on the news. So it goes right into your face, right into your brain. And when you, when you feel like quitting smoking and you just don't know how, and you're like, is there a drug out there I can take? What's the first thing your subconscious thinks of? Boom. Boom. Chantix. Or you think about quitting smoking, then you see that commercial for Chantix come on, and you're like, fuck, that's perfect. That's what I need. This is what keeps Pfizer's stock so high. So, and all of them. So what I'm saying is, watching that interview, this whole Stormy Daniels thing, and at the very beginning, boom, do you need any more proof? Pfizer. That's just so you know, this is brought to you by Pfizer. They flash the big logo in front of your head. So your subconscious recalls it when you start thinking that you have all of these diseases. Think Pfizer, the Pfizer family of products. It's right there, man. It's right there. So, look, do your own research. If you're on drugs, I really hope you can find a way to get off of them. And the interview, man, was just hilarious. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out the Stormy Daniels interview. And while you're at it, while you're out there vegging out, doing your thing, enjoying your life, hanging on the socials, find me on social media. Look me up on Twitter, @HolisticAhole. Find me on Instagram, @holistic_A_hole. Check out my YouTube. I'm starting to blow up the YouTube channel. Going to get some more videos up. Coming up this week, actually. Got a good one, baby. Check out Holistic A-Hole channel on YouTube, Facebook, Holistic A-Hole. You got the idea. If there's any messages you want to get to me, if you have any thoughts on the episodes, if you have anything you want me to talk about, send me an email to holistic.a.hole@gmail.com. Stay healthy, everybody. Have a great week. Peace.